So we'll stop it right there. Because that's
Yeah,
what it sounds like.
man, I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the I'm not the finance guy, but I do know a little bit about something, and it definitely seems like you know some swindling going on here. You know, putting some things in some places to move some money around. It's not laundering money, but it is. Seems a little suspect. And unfortunately, this happens all the time. I'll say that. But like you said, off camera when we were talking a little bit earlier, like yeah, this is big business. Businesses do this all the time. So for whatever reason, they got caught or they're being brought to the light. You know, um, because essentially this is how business is done. You play ball. The right people. Like you, and your all your business dealings are you know pretty much on the up and up. You won't have any issues like this. These things are allowed to happen, and they're done all the time. This is nothing new. This just so happens to be somebody we know because it's close. We're in Cali, and someone got interested in the story, and they brought it to light. So this could be considered, fraud. It could be considered cooking the books. It could be considered manipulating the paperwork. There's a lot of different terms that you can use to insinuate, um, based on if you're paying a player and you have certain restrictions, with salary cap. This could be a way that you can, pay your player, because essentially when you renegotiate and you negotiate contracts, you have to think about the salary cap. And then you could try to break it down into years. Because a lot of times we've seen players not even play but still get paid. We've seen players not even on the team and still getting paid today. So depending on the negotiations, it's like, look, I don't want to wait around 10, 20 years to get paid. I want to get paid, as while I'm here, for this amount of time. And if you can make that work, I'm here. So it's okay. Yeah, I'll figure out something. I'll talk to my guys and we'll see if we could, get creative and cook something up for you. And that's how it goes. Same thing with, other organizations. They use real estate, they use businesses, they use nonprofit organizations, foundations. Those are all different ways that you can manipulate monies, to obtain services. So in this situation, again, we don't know the full information, but this is just what it looks like on the surface. My take.
Uh, this looks all the way wrong. um, you brought up, you know, salary cap, and there's different leagues, different sports that there's no salary cap, and we see how teams can be stacked up. Baseball in particular, there's no salary cap, so whatever the owner is willing to pay, then hey, we could get whoever we need to get to win this World Series. But basketball, to your point, you have a cap, where you have a hard cap, you have a cap, and then you have a hard cap. So like you could go over the cap, but then you have to go in. You start to get into the point where you have to pay fees if you exceed the salary cap. And so this, they do this obviously to try to make it fair. They try to make it, equal amongst all the teams. So there's just not one team that's overwhelmingly powerful. They have all the star players on the squad like that. And in this instance, like you have a team who use a fake company to circumvent the process so they can get whoever they needed. And I can recall like during that whole process when like it was back and forth, like they said Kawhi could potentially go to the Lakers or was another team. I mean, the Clippers came up, but nobody really thought about him going to the Clippers. I mean, let me not say that. LA is a location that people want to go to, and there's one team in particular that is on the hierarchy of teams in LA, and we know what that is. It's purple and gold. And so I remember that whole back and forth. And then when I hear he ends up going to the Clippers, I'm like, oh damn, I mean, well, it is what it is. But then to like come around and see like somebody like Pablo Torres actually, do all this deep diving and research and stuff like that. Shout out to him for one. But also two, like to your other point, I know he's not the first one to do this. He was just the first one to get caught, or the first one, I should say, to be publicized about it, because they may have been other teams that got caught, but it's just not been put out there like that. It's wild, because I know a lot of other teams, if they're not doing it, they would want to do this. They would want to do it to get the player that they need to win championships. And then there will be some people on the other side. I actually had a conversation with my buddy. But on the other side of that, there'll be other teams that can't afford to pay the money. So then that's where the imbalance comes. So I just think it's kind of wild that that they would do it, for one, because before I heard this, I'm gonna just be honest. I know I'm sometimes oblivious to certain things, but I never would have thought, about this doing this to go behind the system and cheat the system to get the player that you needed. It's pretty crazy. I mean, pretty, I don't want to say smart way because they got called, but it's an inventive way to get around things. It's crazy. I have like a group chat. Actually, Al, who's been on the podcast, is in the chat as well. But I dropped it in the chat, and then they were like, "What the heck?" And I was like, "What does that mean?" And so I explained to him there was an instance when me and Ramalis, we had a bet, and so we were at the club, at the nutrition club, and it was he didn't want anybody to know that I won the bet. So he tried to get a buddy to another lady so she could give it to me so nobody would see him giving me the money. And so what's funny is he asked me, like, what does that mean? And I was like, remember that time when we had a bet and I won and you didn't want to give me the money, so you gave it to the other lady to give it to me? That's exactly what happened. So because it was over the salary cap, they found another way to funnel that money to him. And man, I mean, for the teams that don't do this, I think it's so unfair. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Nobody has really talked about, what this means like for the future of the Clippers, or at least I haven't heard, or the future of the NBA. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about them doing their investigation and looking more into this themselves. I know, like I said, I talked to my buddy about it, and he brought up a valid point. Like they may not want the backlash that they'll receive from people hearing about this and finding out. So they may do something internal, and we may not hear about it, or we may hear about it like through the grapevine. But I haven't heard any like next steps or anything like that yet. But I think this is pretty crazy. Like, I mean, shoot, I want some more players on the Lakers. Hey, Jeannie, hey, come out the pocket. Oh, she's not the majority owner no more. Whoever's the majority owner, hey, come out the pocket. We need some more players. You know what I'm saying? We need a championship out here, because number 23 ain't doing it. He ain't cutting it. Everybody's GOAT. He ain't cutting it.
It might happen. You got the owners of the Dodgers. That's the owner now.
That's right.
So they do whatever it takes to get players on the team. So it might work.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, maybe the Clippers messed up the game, man. Maybe they, that might have been a play that the Dodgers might have, took, because you're bound, like we said, we're bound by the salary cap in the NBA. So they were like, hey, that might be a good play, but now they, they done blew up the spot. Man, so we'll keep an eye on it and see, what happens in the future. What else comes from this? Like I said, I haven't heard anything yet, but we shall see. Something need to happen.
We'll see.
Saying, man. Hey, you need to open it up, man. Hey, just do it like baseball. Just open it up. Guess what? Big bank take little bank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you can't afford it, hey, you just need to sit down, man. Just just be at the bottom. You got a lottery pick every year. If you can't afford it, is what it is. But yes.